Good afternoon. Welcome to our Fresh Talk, part of our Women Arts and Social Change programming, which brings together female artists and women leaders for spirited conversation that channels ingenuity and empathy into action. Tonight we are going to be talking about art, power, and the vote, 100 years after suffrage. And this is a program we're doing in partnership with the 2020 One Woman, One Vote Festival. Our guests this evening are Alexandra Bell, Kim Loper, Adjoa Asamoah, Jackie Payne, and Kara Ober from Be More Art is our moderator. So thank you all for being here this afternoon. Normally we ask how many people have been to Fresh Talk before, but I'm going to change the dynamic. I know that voting is a private thing, but I would like to know in this audience who votes regularly. Would you give your... Okay, fabulous. Who votes nationally? Okay, who votes always locally as well? Okay. And then who votes the next time even if your candidate or slate of candidates does not win the election? Okay, so this is going to be a very active group, and that's exactly what we want for this evening. In terms of the Women Arts and Social Change programming, this series began starting in 2015, and I'm really pleased to say that our sponsors have not only stuck with us, but have continued to make the WASC programming even more vibrant than it was maybe when we first started almost 5 years ago. So I want to acknowledge the continuing leadership gifts of Denise Littlefield-Sobel, the Doré Davis Family Fund, and Susan and Jim Swartz, whose family fund helps us as well. Additional funding is provided by the Bernstein Family Foundations, the Ravada Foundation of the Logan family, and this year we've had a special gift from Stephanie Sale that has helped us as well. I'm glad you're all here tonight. I think it's a really important topic that we'll be discussing, and I'm very pleased to introduce our Head of Public Programs, Milani Douglas, to tell you more. Thank you for coming.
Good afternoon. Yes, we'll be here till the evening, but thank you, Susan, for your introduction and your leadership. It is a joy to work with you at this critical and mostly impactful time in the museum's history. We are expanding our relationship with art to include inspiration and impact, and these conversations are a critical part of that process. I want to thank our distinguished guests and our highly esteemed Women Art and Social Change audience. Who has been to a Fresh Talk before? I'm curious. Wonderful. Who has not? Okay, so we're at about 50-50. We're in for a nice ride. Good. It is because of you that we are able to expand the discussion of suffrage to include necessary analysis. Your presence and participation makes the Women Art and Social Change Fresh Talks a place where we gather to advance creative ideas and solutions to some of our most pressing issues. I also would like to thank you for your support, and also, how many people have been to the museum before? Okay, good. If you are a member here, we thank you. We thank you for always coming to participate. We thank our members who are also watching online, and we hope to make new members. Your support is invaluable. We thank you for joining us, and now I'm inviting you to stay. So become a member, get involved, and add your voice to the dialogue. If you have any questions about membership, you can ask our lovely staff. Amanda Veracruz, she is our program manager. We have Grace DeWitt, she is our first Public Programs Fellow. We also have Beth Rao, she's downstairs. And we also have Gwen, who is our Public Programs intern. And we also, as Susan mentioned, want to thank the One Woman, One Vote. If they're going to have programs throughout 2020, so make sure that you look into them and see what you are doing. And then just a few housekeeping notes. If you could silence your cell phones, and I would encourage you to either use the notes in the program or use notes on your phone. These presentations are often giving information that you may find usable in your work. And then also, if you want to, if you're a social media buff, make sure that you tag us, Fresh Talk for Change. We love to read your posts, and we look at your accounts. So are we ready? Ready? Good, okay. So when given the charge of designing a Fresh Talk to mark the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, I felt challenged. I mean, how does one create a celebration that I would not have been invited to 100 years ago? 100 years ago, the story of the right to vote and the obstacles to voting and the opportunities for true change would have been on the fringe of such a celebration. And dare I say that the analysis of that suffrage and the story of exclusivity is still on the edge of pending celebrations. It was during the planning period that I was reading Toni Morrison's Origin of Others, and I came across one of her interviews where she said, "I stood at the border. I stood at the edge, and I claimed it as central. Claimed it as central and let the rest of the world move over to where I was." As a representative of a museum created to serve women artists whose work was once considered only worthy of the fringes and the crumbs of the art world, I felt that if nowhere else, this is the place that is required to have and continue to have conversations anchored at the edge. So today, we move the conversation of suffrage from presumed center of celebration to the fringes, where all voices are heard and the full story is told. Together we claim the border as central, and we create an experience that invites those who celebrate to do the same. History has taught us that women only keep as much for themselves as they demand for the people on the edges and beyond. That any gain that does not advance all will eventually prove to be mere trinkets for some. Trinkets that can be snatched, challenged, and compromised, manipulated, dwindling its original benefit to dust. Dust and trinkets will not progress us. We will use the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment to revisit the story of suffrage, to look at art of the movement and the aesthetics of now, to learn from the era, and decide what tools we will use to move us forward. This is an opportunity to create solutions that can survive the inevitable backlashes to progress that has shown to be an integral part of American history. This conversation will be led by champions of women working at the Center of Arts and Activism, Adjoa Asamoah, Jackie Payne, Kimberly Loper, and Alexandra Ebel. They will introduce themselves with 10 to 13-minute presentations, and then Kara Ober will join them for a conversation. After the conversation, please join us in the dining hall, where we will dine together, have a moment, digest the content, and then have a Q&A over dinner. Without further ado, let the conversation begin. Adjoa?